Welcome back to a brand new episode of Tribal Council Chat. As always, we are your hosts. My name is Bruce Heller.
And my name's Brett Parnell.
And let's dive in. We have another fun episode this week. It's one I'm kind of surprised we haven't done before, but top five favorite final three/final two. I'll call it sets of finalists.
I like it.
And so this should be a fun episode.
So, Bruce, how do you want to lay out the episode? Are we starting at the top or are we starting at the bottom? This was your idea.
Yeah, every good countdown starts at the bottom and ends at number one. You never start at number one.
Sounds good.
So, if you want to go ahead with your number five.
My number five. I am going to go with. For number five, Survivor 46. I have a couple of New Era seasons in this list.
Nice. Kenzie, Charlie, and Ben.
Yeah. Ben was a very entertaining character who won final immunity against all odds. Charlie was obviously a big player in the season. Came back for 50. Kenzie, great game the whole way through, managed to survive the disaster tribe. And then really took over at the merge. And all three of them were memorable in their own right, but probably one of the most talked about final decisions of all time, as we've seen it come back up in 50 at Charlie's expense from Rizzo.
Yeah. That's a great one. I loved Kenzie. I picked her win from the merge forward.
Yep.
So, and our viewers haven't had to hear me say that for a while. I kind of harped on that for a while when it was recent, but just a reminder, I guess. But yeah, that's a fantastic one. I love Kenzie, but Charlie's also fantastic. He was Mom's favorite of the season. And Ben gets slept on a little bit. Ben definitely does get slept on.
Yeah.
So I am going to go with a final three here for my number five. That for a while, this was my favorite winner's winning season. So I've always got a soft spot for this one. Like, it's San Juan del Sur. It's Natalie, Jacqueline, and Missy. And
Nice.
for a while, Natalie was my favorite winner from Winners at War until 45 happened. So
I like it.
It's love Natalie. I like Jacqueline a lot. Missy, I kind of just indifferent on. Not a huge fan, but the other two are really strong. And Natalie winning brings this up a lot.
And all three of them played together really throughout the whole merge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great picks. Natalie plays an amazing strategic game. Jacqueline's somebody who probably does enough to get some votes and maybe win in most seasons.
Yeah.
Missy is in that spot that, yes, she's a one vote finalist. It just happens to be that her daughter is on the jury. Otherwise, she's your clear 0 vote finalist. But
yeah, she's the goat of the season.
Yeah.
That's
a great way to put it.
She's the goat that got drug along there because you know you can beat her because people don't like her.
Yeah.
Especially when Reed Shepard's on the jury.
True.
Not Shepard. What's his last name? Reed Shepard is a basketball player. Reed Kelly.
Yeah. That was quite the tribal council moment.
Oh, yeah.
Then again, who am I to talk? I drafted Quinn in our last episode.
That's funny. All right, what you
All
got?
right, my
Four.
turn for 4.
Yeah.
Fourth favorite, Survivor David versus Goliath.
Oh, that's a good one.
Nick Wilson almost goes home first, gets into his tribe after Pat gets medevac, plays a great game throughout the whole show, makes multiple different alliances to get him to the end. Mike White, obviously, everyone knows him now. Many people in the cast knew him when he first started. Top director, was on The Amazing Race. Big character this season, probably someone who maybe could have been in high contention for a character spot. I guess I never even considered him last time because he comes back for 50 and is therefore such a good player at the game. He's
Yeah.
not just there for entertainment value. And then speaking of big characters, you have Angelina, who is probably one of the biggest female personalities we've ever got on Survivor. Former student government president at Stanford. And I also hear she got rice for her tribe.
Maybe. I don't think she mentioned it very often. Kind of like Rodney. Rodney might have had to do dishes on his birthday. I don't know. Neither of those got mentioned very often. I mean, we'll never know, I guess.
Yep.
Shout out to Rodney, I guess. Didn't expect you to get mentioned here, but oh well.
Well, somebody said he was their favorite player, as we saw the other day, which was funny.
I saw that on. Yeah, I sent someone on Facebook. Met him and said like he was their favorite player ever, and I didn't know that was an opinion anyone had. And I'm now convinced everyone except for like Colton and He Who Shall Not Be Named. Not that that's the same thing. I don't want to be that mean to Colton. He Who Shall Not Be Named is his own category.
But I'm gonna add that there are probably people out there who watched Survivor in the old school game and were passed away before what's it called? 25 Philippines, who went to the grave thinking that He Who Shall Not Be Named is their favorite player of all time.
Those poor people.
Yeah.
Where I'm going is, like, except for a name few, my new theory is that everyone has at least one person that, like, thinks of them as their favorite player.
Yeah, there's gotta be.
Because I didn't know Rodney is my favorite player as a thing, but now like that got me thinking. There's someone out there who like watched Worlds Apart and like, hey, Will is my favorite player.
Yeah.
I don't know how anyone comes to that conclusion, but I now feel like there's someone out there.
Fair enough.
So my number 4 is from one of my like top few favorite seasons. And if the Fallen Angel had gone to Final 3 instead of being Fallen Angel, this would be in the top 3 for sure. You look like you're thinking. Do you know where I am already?
I'm trying to think. I do not know.
Okay, he doesn't know. I'm surprised. I thought that he would give it to you. This is Cambodia.
Okay, nice.
Where we have Jeremy, who I love, Tasha, who I love and have met, and is from St. Louis, and used to own a Chick-fil-A in the next town over from my parents' house. And Spencer, at the time, now Raymond, who's just good TV. He's a fun character. He's so smart.
Yeah, great one.
And then in 4th place, you have Kelly Wentworth, who's tied with Amanda for my all-time favorite player. So if she had made Final 3, this would be even higher.
True.
But she didn't. So
very close. And then we have, right before that happening, the ridiculous vote that leads to Keith getting voted off with no votes.
It's so confusing. Is that the one Probst had to like stop the finale and like football coach like draw out the votes and everything?
Exactly.
Oh, what a crazy vote. But no, Cambodia's a great Final Three.
Yeah, it
And
is.
Germany wins in a unanimous vote, despite it being such a good group of finalists.
Yep. All right, next. Mine is going to be my only final two on the list. And it wouldn't be Tribal Council chat if it wasn't for a reference from Survivor All Stars. So 3, I'm putting Rob and Amber.
Wow.
Or I guess I should say Amber and Rob, even though we tend to know them as Rob and Amber because she's the winner and he's the runner-up.
That one kind of slipped my mind somehow. I might need to edit my list with this top 3 here.
Fair enough. But I mean, this is an alliance that started on day 1. By day 3, it was more than an alliance. And the two of them just ran the entire game, despite probably being the two players that overall, if you were to look at the All-Stars cast, which was 18 people, right?
Yeah.
You look at it and say, actually, Survivor up until this point has been 16 people. Take a man and a woman out of it. Most fans before that season started probably would have said Rob and Amber.
Yeah.
And they run the whole show.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. Which also kind of maybe proves that you don't need to be that like previous games big name in order to do well on a returning player season. They made a name for themselves on this season.
Yeah.
And then have since gone on to be two of the most famous reality show contestants of all time.
That is fantastic. So okay. I know I already talked about some of these, but this slipped my mind. So San Juan del Sur fell off the list, and Cambodia's 5, and pretend I said All Stars for 4. Just because of the love story, everything that happened after it, I can't not have it on my list. So San Juan del Sur, you are now honorable mention. That won't confuse the audience. Me changing my list midway.
They all know.
Yeah. I actually had a list coming in this time. I'm not just doing this on the fly, too.
Yeah.
When Kevin and I do Pit Stop Pals, we do power rankings at the end of each episode, and half the time I'm doing that on the fly as we're doing it. I'm ranking them as I go.
Sure. You okay?
Excuse me, sorry, soda. And so my number 3, and we'll get to this later, but I'm surprised All Stars is your only final 2. There's one I expected to be there.
Okay.
So my number 3 is a classic. It's aired 16 years ago, I want to say, and is still super debated now. You have the winner, you have the person a lot of people argue should have won, and you have a 0-vote finalist that, despite getting 0 votes, played a pretty strong game still. This is the Heroes versus Villains Final 3.
Nice.
There's not a bad player there.
Yeah.
There's Russell, whose social game was never going to allow him to win, but he still had a strong-ish resume strategically.
Very true. Yeah, Russell does have a strong resume in this season. He also does, to a point, focus on the fact that he's, in his mind, he thinks he's running an alliance that involves running circles around Parvati and Danielle, and therefore he's not as tied into his antics around camp this season as he is in his first season, which I think helps him out at least to be a little more having a stronger resume going in. Unfortunately for him, he's up against 2 legends of this game,
and
Sandra and Parvati.
And he's also a legend of the game, but unfortunately for him, he's still Russell, and he
is, but I don't think he was a legend of the game at the time.
True. This season
I think he
kind of made
becomes a
him.
legend of the game in this season, but when the jury was voting, he didn't have that viewpoint solidified in the jury and in the fan base the way that he did after while it was
Yeah.
airing.
He probably thought he was a legend, though.
Oh yeah, no question.
But the biggest thing is here with Russell, he gets the final 3, and strategically he's great. Like you said, like camp life wasn't as crazy, but he's still Russell, unfortunately for him, and he's still kind of an ass to everyone on the tribe. So
Yeah,
he was never gonna win, no matter what he said at that final tribal.
yeah, exactly.
But the other two is still such a good debate. They both have deserving arguments. They both played great resumes. I've said before I would have voted for Parvati. Her road to get there was a lot harder than Sandra's.
Mhm.
So,
I
but
agree.
I'm
But I
not going to
also
begrudge
think
Sandra either.
Sandra played the game exactly as she had to do and got. I think Sandra is one of the few winners here who focused on not only how do I get to the end and have the resume to win, but what I really like in Sandra's game is she made every single week she was going, who do I want on the jury in order to get who I well in order to get the votes to win.
Yeah. Parvati played the best game, especially if you take target size into account. But you can easily see where Sandra won at. The jury selection and the social game with the heroes and like going out of her way to try to get along with them or pretend she was ever going to flip on the villains with them. Which I'm not convinced. Like, there was this, hey, if we can make this work, I'll eventually flip with you guys, and it didn't work. I'm not convinced she was ever actually going to flip.
Yeah.
But I still would have voted for Parvati, but you can still easily see why Sandra won and where she beat Parvati at.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got, what, number 2 now?
Yeah, I do have number 2, and we're going very recent here. Survivor 49.
Wow, that's a good one.
It is. I mean, Savannah is probably one of my favorite. Well, is one of my favorite New Era players. Brings back that villainous game that we've been missing as fans. Sophie was such a great character the whole season, going from being on a disaster tribe and her ally being bit by a snake and having to make her own way to all of a sudden connecting with Savannah and Rizzo at the swap and running the game with them, even though she was new and struggling up until that point. And then Sage was just entertaining and also, like her, don't like her, also played an amazing game with the people she was playing. It's just unfortunately for her, a lot of them got voted out.
Yeah. That's a great answer. 49, super underrated final 3, honestly.
And I think it, regardless of what happens in Fire, if Rizzo ends up in that spot instead of Sage, then I would also have,
Rizzo and Savannah were Fire.
Rizzo and Savannah with Fire. If Rizzo ends up there, then I would say that it probably would have been the exact same ranking for me.
Interesting. That's a good one.
Yeah.
And so,
your number 2.
My number 2, remember when I said I was surprised All Stars was your only final 2?
Yeah.
That's because
You had an honorable mention. After this is over, I might have a couple honorable mentions of some final 2s.
That's fair. I edited my list on the fly. You can do the same thing. My number 2 one, though, is one I'm just genuinely surprised you didn't have, and that's Micro.
Yeah.
Micronesia, Amanda, and Parvati from day one ran this season together. And, yes, if it was the final three it was supposed to be, all the people that say Suri would have beaten them, probably right. But Amanda and Parvati were in alliance and were making moves definitely before they brought Suri in. Suri was the clear number 3 in this alliance to me.
Yeah, very true.
Like, Amanda and Parvati were the top 2. They ran this season together. And yes, Suri probably does still win, but she was number 3 in that alliance. So, if it's a final 2, I love that this is the final 2. Because it's the battle of the top 2 all season.
Yeah, absolutely.
Excuse me.
Yeah, this was definitely one of the ones that I would have had like right below the 5 that I picked. As far as the final 2, it's probably the best final 2 of all time without the Robin Ambrose story factoring in.
And a final 3 would have been better because you would have gotten Suri. But just something about the 2 people that have been running the season the whole time, going head to head. I love that.
Yeah.
And 2 people that were together from day 1 to day 39.
Absolutely.
If this had been a final 3, it's still in my top 5. I don't know if it's number 2, but it.
Fair.
And this season was supposed to be a final 3, by the way. We just got too many medevacs.
Yep.
Dang it, Penner and James. And Kathy quit. That didn't help either.
No, that didn't help either. Honorable mention other than this one, I would one also that I considered goes all the. I just gave you something recent. We're gonna go all the way back to the beginning. Rich and Kelly.
Oh, that's a good one.
That would have been another honorable mention for my if for final 2s. I think I did prioritize final 3s a bit just because we have more content to bring up in the show. But if you when you look at that final 2, Hatch and Wigglesworth, this was really ultimately looking at how Survivor was going to be played. And you had Kelly, who was there for the outdoor experience and dominated the physical game. And in contrast, Rich, who saw the game as chess or poker or politics and was just focused on how do I knock out all these other people and keep me remaining. And I think the big thing to me that sticks out is how we got to this final 2. Was I'm going to go back to it. In my opinion, one of the smartest moves ever made in Survivor is in the middle of that first ever Hands on Heart Idol challenge.
Yes.
And that's Rich saying, I wish you both luck, and stepping down, because Rich played this like the way I'll watch this is like this afternoon watching the World Cup. Rich played this 5 passes ahead in order to score the goal. And he knew the one way that the jury doesn't give me $1 million is if I'm the guy who has to go and blindside Rudy on day 38.
Yeah.
But in contrast with that, if Kelly votes out Rudy, it's just logical because he's stronger competition against her than I am. So Rich sits down, eats his oranges, chats with Jeff for an hour, and takes $1 million.
Rich also doesn't get the $1 million if he's sitting next to Rudy.
Of course.
He needed Kelly to win that.
Yeah, he did. But that this way he didn't have to be the one to vote him out.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Because Kelly wins if Rich backstabs Rudy on the final vote.
If Rudy wins that challenge, then this isn't the move it is from Rich. But because Kelly won, it's brilliant.
Absolutely. All right. Number 1. Do we have the same one?
Maybe.
I think so.
Go ahead.
Winners at War?
No.
Okay.
I'm gonna add that as a second honorable mention, just because I want to mention it. Because Natalie's incredible.
Fair.
Michelle for you. Tony played an insanely good game that season.
Yeah.
But no, we
Um,
don't have the same one.
okay, so I'll talk about that one and then I'll let you respond and then bring up yours. But yeah, Tony plays an insanely good game from the second that Denise doesn't vote him out and chooses to blindside Sandra instead. He just runs the entire merge from this is extortion to winning challenges when he used to never be a physical threat. So on and so forth. Natalie, on the other hand, does as best as you can coming back from Edge of Extinction. She comes back, she plays the idol correctly, she has that power, she immediately bonds with Michelle. We don't see a ton of from Natalie this season, but because she is on the edge for the entire time, but she plays that really well. She also plays the edge game really well with her and Parvati knowing who to send advantages to and working well together on that side of the game just to mass fire tokens so that she can go in with a big advantage on the rest of her edge felt whatever you call people who live on the edge of extinction.
Yeah.
Then
Natalie was almost perfect when she came back. If she
yeah,
had taken out Tony, who knows? I mean,
who knows is the answer.
who knows is the answer. I think Sarah wins. But Rob did say in his confessional, you were almost perfect. The one thing you didn't do is take this guy out. If she takes out Tony, that might be a couple more votes.
Yeah, I
I
think she could do it if she takes out Tony, but I don't read into that as Sarah could have taken out Tony. I read into that as she had to go take out Tony herself.
Yeah. Well, I think by putting Sarah and Tony in fire, it would have been like, oh, I took Tony out by sending Sarah to go get him.
See, I don't buy that.
I don't know if it would have worked, but that
I
would have
think
been
Rob
her argument.
wanted. I think if Natalie was getting Rob's vote, Rob wanted to see her doing it herself in fire.
Fair.
And then
if Sarah wins fire, my theory is she wins the season, but we'll never know.
We'll never know.
She was never she. Here's the thing, though. I just remembered Sarah was never getting Rob's vote.
Yes, exactly.
So,
and this is why I am adamant that that Michelle was getting Rob's vote.
That's fair.
And that leads me to it's coming. I have to talk about Michelle before I pass the torch off to you to give you number one. What a season from her too. Michelle comes into the game, and her whole storyline is surrounding people questioning her win. She has that amazing moment with Rob. If you win, you win. The end. Michelle then goes on into the merge. She's playing with the younger people that she swapped with. Nick, who goes far with her. Adam and Wendell, who go out early. She gets the fire, probably a bad move from her perspective, but as she ends up helping recruit some fire tokens for Tony, I think it helps Michelle's game if Tony doesn't win that immunity. Because then Tony does not, maybe becomes the target that week. Who knows?
I think, yeah. My what if with immunities is the episode like pre-immunity challenge. We see a group together and Kim goes, "Hey, Tony's a big target. We need to start looking at him." And then Tony wins immunity and the Kim thing gets back to him.
Yeah.
If Tony doesn't win that immunity, who knows?
That's it. And then we could have a totally different game.
Maybe Bradlin's a two-time winner. Maybe she takes him out and then just that group, her and that group start rolling things.
Yeah. Then we gotta go from there. Later in the game, you start to talk about potentially Michelle being voted out. She wins 2 immunities to save herself. She has a great moment with her and Sarah, where Michelle just blatantly tells Sarah that Tony's gonna win the game, and nobody else on this beach of 6 winners sees it. Amazing, strategic game knowledge. And then, even though she doesn't get any votes, we do know that there were 4 people coming into Tribal that were going to vote for Michelle if they didn't think it was going to be a split vote. In Adam, Nick, Wendell, and Danny, I believe it was.
Yeah.
So she definitely, I think, got the short end of the stick with the results, but played an amazing game.
We just need to get the whole Winners at War jury as guests on this show sometime and just ask them, because we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
Just get like all 16 or however many of them there were as guests at the same time and just be like, hey, if Sarah had won Fire, what would your vote have been? And we solve it once and for all. That would be fun. Never going to happen, but that would be fun.
Yeah.
So is it me now?
It is you now.
I'm shocked you don't know where this is going.
I think I do. China.
Well, you thought my number 1 was going to be Winners at War a few minutes.
I just assumed that might be a little too epic, but now that I see the buff, I'm going to say China.
My favorite final 3 is very clearly in, like, not super close as much as I love Micro. The final 3 from Survivor Nicaragua. Fabio and Sash and whoever else, Chase, I guess.
Chase Rice. Grammy Award winner.
You can, for the audience that can't tell, if you can't tell by the fact I couldn't even remember Chase was the third person, I'm joking.
The other funny thing is that Chase Rice is probably the second most famous person to play Survivor besides Mike White.
Yeah.
Yet he's in this final 3 that's infamous for just being bad.
Elizabeth Hasselbeck became pretty famous after
true.
Survivor. Well, Lisa Whelchel, too.
Yeah.
Mike White's definitely number 1. I would probably put Lisa Whelchel at 2.
Yeah.
But no, it's not Nicaragua. Brett's right with his second guess, saying it's China, even though his first guess was Winners at War. Todd is one of my favorite winners. I don't have my winner list in front of me, but he's top 5.
Yeah.
I need to redo my winner list. I went on Tier Maker and did my favorite winners, but there's been multiple seasons since then. And that might have been like after 41 or 42. So, no, Todd's amazing, plays one of the best strategic games we've seen, and then had the best final tribal of all time. Amanda here, I mentioned Kelly earlier, tied for my favorite player. Amanda's who she's tied with.
Nice.
I have this pop Todd himself made me of Amanda winning the really cool final immunity in China with the dishes stacking. And like the two of them are an incredible duo, but they're not just a duo. There's a trio all season because Todd and Amanda come together, then they need a third. And they quickly find Courtney, who I went on about how much I love in our character draft last week.
Yeah.
And the three of them go from like day 2 as a trio to the end. And they all get votes at Final Tribal. And Courtney gets more votes than Amanda because like Todd told us, like the story Todd told us when he came on is like waiting to go into Final Tribal. He and Courtney were kind of just chill and ready, and Amanda's like super stressed, practicing everything. Amanda got in her head, is my guess.
Mm-hmm.
But even with kind of her proneness to self-implode Final Tribal, she gets a vote. Courtney gets 2, I think. Todd gets the rest. Just an incredible trio. They did so good. And we get like Jean Robert being Jean Robert, like being snarky at Courtney with his question. And we get her being snarky back, like, I won an immunity. Did you win an immunity, Jean Robert? This whole Final 3 is just incredible. They're so fun all season. Todd and Courtney are super good friends in real life. The hat she wears in Heroes vs. Villains is the same hat Todd wore in China.
Yep.
So,
Nice.
it's my favorite Final 3 forever, and probably will be forever because it's my favorite season.
Nice. I like it.
So, also, going back to Winners at War, my Winners at War hot take is that I'd love to see Fire Tokens return.
Yeah.
Just without Edge. And I don't even hate Edge the way most people do. Edge makes pretty good TV, honestly.
Yeah.
But...
Well, this was fun. Do you want to get into a line blindside first boot?
yeah, let me pull it up.
I've got one ready to go if you want.
I do too. I just need to read who it is.
Okay.
Here it is. Okay, your 3 are 3 players that I know you like.
Okay.
I'll give you Sydney and Savannah and Michelle, who you talk about all 3 of them a lot.
Okay. I am going to align with Michelle.
Shocker.
Yeah. We've met many times in real life. I trust her. I'm sure she would trust me in the game. The other 2 I do not know.
Don't you have Sydney's Instagram subscription or something?
No, I had a free trial of it for a little while. Sydney or Savannah? This is where it's tough because I'm trying to think of how would Sydney react to being blindsided, and do I want to take that risk?
I think Savannah would react to it better, honestly.
I think Savannah would act to it better, but I think Sydney and I might have a more stronger relationship in the game. I think I'll blindside Sydney and first boot Savannah, who is just extremely dangerous.
Yeah. This is interesting. Because normally the winner is the most dangerous, and I get rid of them first. But there's 2 of them.
2 winners.
Savannah's incredibly dangerous and terrifying, and she used to work at a news channel in St. Louis, but I'm going to first boot her. And I'm going to blindside Michelle because Sydney of these 3 is the easiest for me to beat at the end.
Fair.
So, I think her ego and such a high level of self-confidence that can kind of come off as being arrogant might rub jurors the wrong way.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't beat either of the other 2, so I kind of have to align with Sydney here.
Yeah. All right. Yours are going to be 1 winner, 1 second place, and 1 third place out of my list.
Interesting.
So you are going to get Kenzie, Mike, and Sage.
Ooh. See, of these 3, Sage is the one I'm least excited to work with and be a duo with, but she's also clearly the least threatening of these 3, and I can't beat the other 2, I don't think. Because Kenzie's super social and gets a well, I might be able to beat Mike White now.
I was gonna say, you don't think you could beat someone who's a dozen times over multi-millionaire?
I forgot about, because my thought as a juror is always vote for the best game and don't take outside of the game into account. So I forget not everyone's like that, but Mike's an incredible player. He's terrifying.
Yeah.
So I'll align with Sage and first boot Kenzie. Not first boot Mike and blindside Kenzie.
Nice.
You?
I am going to do the opposite of you. I am going to take outside the game into effect. First boot Kenzie, blindside Sage, and align with Mike.
Smart.
That was fun.
That was. Be sure to keep track of all our episodes, our topic episodes, and our rewatch episodes One of each coming each week.
Yep.
Pit Stop Pals, Roundtable Talk, New Generation Challengers. And with all that being said, grab your torches and head back to camp, everyone.
Good
Goodbye.
night.